Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Football and welcome back to the Prediction Show. Match week 11 is here, the last week before the final international break of the year. But we're here to do the Prediction Show as usual. What a disastrous week it was for me last time out. I faced a West Ham fan and he trashed me 13-2 in the predictions. 13-2. That means basically he got like 5 games and only got like 1. Like literally smashed me up. So currently, as it stands, I am losing 6-4 to the experts. I nicknamed you guys the experts because that's what you did clearly. I'm losing. I'm up against the experts. And the next expert to face me is a Leeds fan, Big Lou. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I think my predictions are going to be led with the heart rather than the head. So maybe you'll pull one back this week.
I hope so, because the moment you win this, it's going to be 7-4. It's hard to pull that one back. So let's see how you do. The first fixture for this week is actually going to be on a Friday. So that's going to be an interesting game. And I'll let you start on this one. Southampton against Aston Villa. What do you reckon will happen in this one?
Well, I actually don't think Aston Villa have although they made some really good signings, I don't think that they're coping without their star man, Jack Grealish, who is obviously doing fairly well at City. We played Southampton the other week, and they didn't look like a bad side. A lot of pundits are talking about how Palace are really good and Villa are really good, and a lot of negative press about Leeds. So I think Southampton are going to win this 1-0. But I think there are a lot of teams of similar ilk who are actually in bad form, but there's not a lot of points. There's that mini league in the sort of bottom half where you lose a couple, you're in a relegation battle, you win a couple, you're mid-table. So I think Southampton are going to pick this one at home.
Wow, we've been there. We've been in the relegation battle this season. We were there between 12th and 20th. Exactly. We were like, if we lose this game, we are back to 20th. So I'm going to go for Southampton 1, Aston Villa 1. I think Aston Villa, if they actually lose, as you say, that will be 4 losses in a row for them. That will be damaging. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here. And then the next game on Saturday, the first one on Saturday, the big one. We have a huge game here, Manchester United against Manchester City, the Manchester Derby. United obviously getting smashed up by Liverpool, but beating Tottenham last week, and City losing at home to Crystal Palace, a team you've mentioned so far. How do you think this one will go?
Well, we've all seen the clips of Rio and Scholes having a good moan in the last couple of weeks about the results in the Champions League sort of papering over the cracks a little bit and needing Ronaldo to save them.
Yeah.
City looked like City again last night, albeit only playing against Bruges, not the best Champions League outfit. I think a lot of your neutrals will be wanting to see a Man City win here, just because the Ollie at the wheel stuff is quite amusing for those that don't support Man United. So I am hoping for the same. I think this could be. I don't think it will be a 5-0, but I think it's very possible Man United could crumble again with a 3-0 loss. Man City winning 3-0 for this one.
City did rest a couple of players last night. Diaz, De Bruyne, all of them rested. I think they'll pick up a win, but I think United will get the goal. Just as you said, Ronaldo, I think he'll score again. He's been brilliant for them. I think he already scored 3 90-minute goals in the Champions League already, twice against Atalanta and once against Villarreal. So I'm going to go for United 2, City 3, a 3-2 win for Manchester City. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. Next up, the 3 p.m. kickoffs. The first one will be Chelsea against Burnley. Chelsea, top of the table. Do you think they'll remain there for the international break?
Yeah, I think this is just a home win written all over it. Burnley did pick up an unexpected 3 points against Brentford, who have started fairly well, but I can't see anything other than a victory for Chelsea here. I'm thinking maybe 3-1. I think it shocked a lot of people last week. It wasn't great for Leeds. Burnley beating Brentford last week because it actually put us in the bottom 3 before we played Norwich. which was very annoying. So I'm hoping for a Chelsea win, and I think that will be the most likely outcome here.
3-1. Okay, so Chelsea have only conceded 3 goals so far this season in the league, and 2 of them were penalties. Their defense is really good. So I'm going to go for.
Sorry, go on, mate.
I'm going to go for Chelsea 2, Burnley 0. Right?
Nice.
They don't concede goals at all. They usually don't concede goals.
No, and I was going to say Reece James is absolutely on fire as well. I mean, if he'd have taken the penalty, he could have literally had a hat trick last week.
Do you think he fancied it? He never I never saw him.
Yeah. Well, I think it must just all be about the team, and the penalty taker takes the penalties as opposed to individual milestones for players. But I don't think Reece James is going to have many more opportunities at getting a hat trick for Chelsea.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm not sure why Chelsea said they don't have strikers. James and Chilwell are scoring goals left, right, and center. This guy should be strikers for them. The next game, 3 p.m. kickoffs, is going to be Brentford against Norwich. 2 teams already mentioned as well. So Brentford last week losing to Burnley, Norwich last week losing to Leeds. So do you think, first question is, do you think Norwich are down already?
Yes, they are. Yeah. Leeds are not obviously in the best form, but I was at Norwich on Sunday and watched us play against them. We were still, slightly out of sorts, but we were miles better than Norwich, and they are. They're in a sorry state of affairs, and I think it will only get worse for them. I don't think they'll go the whole season without picking up wins. If they are going to pick up wins, it will be against. I don't know. Maybe they'll get a freak result like they did, a couple of seasons ago against Man City. This has got a draw written all over it for me. I think Brentford have started well. They have pulled the wool over the eyes of a few people. I still think Brentford are going to be sort of down and around in the sort of bottom 5 eventually. But this game, I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2. I cannot see it. I can see Norwich losing again, unfortunately for them. And surely they have to try and get a win here because it's a fellow team that got promoted with them as well. They finished above them in the league last season. So I'm going to go for Brentford 3, Norwich 1. I'm going to go for a heavy win again. So another loss for Norwich City, 3-1. The next game at the same time as well, Crystal Palace against Wolverhampton Wanderers. What do you expect in this?
Again, it's one of those sort of clashes in the sort of bottom half mini league. So I don't know. Wolves have been. They looked like a fairly decent outfit in a couple of games. But I think they're a very negative team now. I think they were the same under Nuno. Lots of fouls, lots of petty sort of gains they're looking for in a game. A lot of time wasting. They're not very positive, so I can't see them being a team that score a lot of goals. Palace play some nice football, but again, they're a team that I think are being slightly overhyped. Conor Gallagher is obviously in great form. Seriously good player. Leeds themselves were after him, and for whatever reason, he ended up at Palace. I like him. I think he's a brilliant player. And they have a couple of players that are playing pretty decent stuff at the moment. So I fancy a Palace home win here. I'm going to go 2-1.
So, and I'm going to go for a draw here. I watched Wolves against Everton on Monday, and in the first half, they ripped Everton apart. And Crystal Palace, they should have beaten Arsenal. If Arsenal didn't equalize in the last minute, they beat City, they beat Tottenham. So they've been on really, really good form. Vieira is looking to have changed a few ideas there. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Crystal Palace 2, Wolves 2. So you started in the first 5 predictions. I'll start on the next 5. So the late kickoff on Saturday is going to be Brighton against Newcastle. So Newcastle, obviously, since the takeover, still no improvements. Obviously, the money hasn't been injected yet, unfortunately for them. They seem to be struggling. I really wonder how it's going to turn out for them if they get relegated before the money even comes in. Will they be able to sign the big players in the Championship? I wonder. I'll get lose ideas on that. For me, I'm going to go for another Brighton win here. They've started the season well. Obviously, kind of dropped off the last of a couple of games, but they did draw Liverpool last week, so I'm going to go for Brighton 2, Newcastle 0. How about you?
Yeah, I think Brighton are on a sort of unexpected upward curve. I think Potter is a pretty underrated manager. Newcastle have a terrible defence and they have a terrible defensive record.
Yeah.
And I think if they are in the bottom three come January, regardless of the signings they make, I think it might be too late. So I think they, at some point in the next couple of months, they might have to sort of brace themselves for a return to the Championship, albeit will probably be only for one season. But I can't see things getting better for Newcastle. They're not a very good side. They've been very, very poor this season. St. Maximin turns up in parts, but, you know, one guy can carry a team, but I don't think one guy can carry this team. I'm going to go for Brighton 3-1.
Brighton 3-1. Do you think they're able to inject that one in the Championship, like big name players?
Well, there's obviously issues with FFP and the Championship, but I think that the team they have at the moment, if they can keep hold of everybody, there's a brighter future for them. So I think they'll probably be able to keep plenty of players and you know, stick it out in the Championship. They'll win that league. It's a tough league to get out of as a Leeds fan. I definitely know, but I can't see any way out for them, to be honest. They don't score enough goals. They're terrible defensively, and in January that will be the place they have to start, to be honest. In getting some decent central defenders.
Okay, so 2-0 for me, 3-1 for Lou. Speaking of Leeds, that's the first fixture, one of the first fixtures on Sunday. Leeds against Leicester. Obviously, we played against both of these teams the last 1 week. Leicester losing last week at home, and Leeds beating Norwich City away from home. Is this a fixture you're really hoping to get 3 points, or would you be happy with that draw?
At home, I would always want to win. Never happy with a draw unless the context of the game meant maybe we've stolen a draw out of it. But I think our performances are getting there. We've got players gradually coming back. Bamford and Ayling are not too far away for us. So I'm going to go with a positive 2-1 Leeds here. I think we surprised them last year, albeit during COVID with no fans. But, you know, we shocked them and beat them 3-1 last year, having gone 1-0 down. So I think it's very possible. Leicester are a team who pull out some great results and then not so good the next week. So they are very inconsistent. You know, they'll be targeting this game. I think it will be a very open game. It does tend to be. Leicester are a positive team under Rodgers. So it'll be a great game for the neutral. But it's going to be one of those basketball fixtures that involve Leeds again, I think.
So 2-1 win?
2-1 win for Leeds, yeah.
Okay, I agree in terms of it's going to be a very, very good game to watch. I'm going to go for a high-scoring game here, the high-scoring game of the weekend. Leeds 3, Leicester 3. As you said, you beat them at the King Power Stadium last season 3-1. I think they also beat you by like 4 goals at Elland Road last season, so it's always a high-scoring game. I'm going to go for 3-3 here. The next game at the same time is going to be Everton against Antonio Conte. Obviously, Tottenham play on Thursday night. We're waiting to see what kind of lineup they'll field and all that. Do you think Antonio Conte will inject his spirit into Tottenham immediately and they'll bounce back straight away?
Well, I mean, if you're a Tottenham fan, that's a great appointment for them. They've got every right to be excited by that. There's no guarantees. He comes in and does it straight away, but Everton aren't a team performing well under Rafa, who, you know, by all accounts is a great manager. I think this is one for Tottenham to sort of get themselves up and running. I don't think they're necessarily going to have a particularly strong team out tonight in the Conference League, which as a club, I can't see them being mega enthusiastic about. But, you know, ultimately Tottenham are not in a terrible position. They just were playing awful football under Nuno, and I think more than anything, Conte was available, which is why Nuno got sacked. They sort of got in there before Man United. So Yeah, I can see Tottenham. I think it'll be a tight game. Everton are still at home. They lost 5-2 against Watford at home, so home form isn't necessarily,
very true,
especially when your team's not playing well. So, but yeah, I think Tottenham will probably pick this one. I'm going to go for 2-1.
2-1 Tottenham. It's going to be such a hard game. Everton are still missing Calvert-Lewin, but they do have Richarlison back. I'm going to go for a draw here. Everton 1, Tottenham 1. I'm going to fancy a draw here. Do you think Nuno was a bad appointment for Tottenham, or
no? I didn't at all. It looked like a good fit, to be honest. But you'd expect his teams to be better defensively than they ended up being. I think he's like a lot of teams. There's a lot of players that are out of form, and Tottenham quite simply have. Kane looks very sluggish. He doesn't look like he's confident. Son is normally a lot more lively. He's normally feeding Kane and everything else, and those two have been, branded, a great partnership in the Premiership. They've not really shown that yet. Emerson Royal, they've got. There should be no excuses for Tottenham. They still have plenty of quality. I don't think Eric Dyer is one of those quality players. I still don't know how that guy gets in any team, let alone that team. So, yeah, they're just a bit of a weird team. They're in a bit of an odd patch, and this is a transition for them. But as the papers have reported, Conte's a serial winner, so you'd expect things to get better for them. Not that you'd want to see that as an Arsenal fan.
Absolutely. Speaking of Arsenal is the next game against Watford. Obviously, we've mentioned Watford already. Again, Watford have been all over the place since Ranieri came. They lost 5-2 to Everton at home. They won 5-2 away at Everton. They lost 5-0 at home to Liverpool, and they lost 1-0 to Southampton the other day as well. So some funny results. You'd have expected them to at least lose by 2-0 against Liverpool, not 5-0 at home. And that 5-2 against Everton was a shock. So traveling to the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal have been on good form recently. I am going to go for Arsenal 3, Watford 1. What about you?
I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for Arsenal. I saw Watford play against Leeds at Ellen Road, where they lost 1-0, and they were absolutely dreadful. But that 5-2 result against Everton, who, yes, have had players missing and have been a little bit out of form, but I don't think anybody was expecting that. So, yeah, some really, really bizarre results coming from them. So it's really hard to say if they're going to be one of those teams operating in the bottom three, and they look capable of surviving. Ranieri is obviously a really good manager. They're not going to be winning this weekend, but they're, like I say, very, very bizarre team, capable of, greatness and capable of calamity. And I don't think this weekend will be calamitous for them. I think they'll lose. But very, very bizarre team, Watford. I really don't know what to make of them so far.
They do have a very quick team, though. I'm kind of scared of the likes of SAS. So let's see how it goes. And then the last game on Sunday, West Ham against Liverpool. West Ham have been magnificent, and Liverpool as well recently, beating Atletico Madrid. They made those two games against Atletico Madrid look very easy. So do you think if West Ham beats Liverpool, it's going to be a surprise? Before you answer, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw here. I'm actually going to go for a 2-2 draw. Do you think it's going to be a surprise if they beat Liverpool?
I think they have every chance. They are. And I don't think this is much of a shock, to be honest. West Ham had a really good season last year, and they've taken that form into this season, which a lot of clubs haven't really done. West Ham have been consistent. They've been very hard to beat. I've said this about Leeds, in that one of our best performances was against West Ham, and ultimately the difference in the end was Antonio, who is becoming a really clinical
number
finisher,
9.
and he's tough to play against. I think Liverpool do need to be on their best form. I think last couple of games, Salah has not actually been as potent, especially against Brighton last night. I think he just wasn't quite his clinical self. But you know, he's capable of the best as soon as he decides that that's what he's going to do. So, but this is a winnable game for West Ham. I'm going to also go for a draw. I'm going to go for 2-2 as well. Only because I think of two teams and the way they're playing at the minute, it's hard to actually separate them. Declan Rice has been absolutely brilliant. I think Jared Bowen, they are one of the lucky teams in the Premier League where they have probably more than half their team performing really well. And that's half the battle. You have players in form doing their jobs, you're going to win games.
Yeah, just a quick one on Lingard. If you're the West Ham owners or anything like that, would you have paid the 40 million for Lingard, for example, at the beginning of the season? Was it that crucial for them last time out?
Yeah, I would have done. I think they have missed a trick there. They should have taken the punt, and all that's happened for Lingard is that he's gone back to Man United and is basically back to square one in that he is as in favour as he was when he left. And I think Man United are now in a position where they think, oh, Cavani and Ronaldo works well for us up front, you know, and then that just leaves Lingard, Greenwood, Sancho, Rashford out of favour and on the bench. It's very, very bizarre for me. But Lingard was a great fit at West Ham. And I think it might even be something we see sort of come to the surface again in January.
Yeah, thank you for that. So those are your match week 10, match week 11, predictions. So the last two bonus questions. One player to definitely score. I am going to tip your player what a goal is scored against Norwich. Against Leicester, as I said, 3-3 draw. I'm going to go for Rafinha to score. What about you? You have 500 players to pick from. 500 players to pick from 10 games. Who are you going?
Well, I'm not going to go for anyone too outrageous. One of my favourite players to watch at the moment has been Smith Rowe. I think he's been brilliant. And I was annoyed I left him out of my fantasy team the other week where he decided to pick up 13 points. Won't be doing that again. I think he is going to be fairly short odds to score again. So he's my player, Emil Smith Rowe.
I've never actually had him in my team. I do have Aubameyang and Ben White, though. Aubameyang has been actually scoring a few goals recently, but I think it's time to bring in Smith Rowe. And then the total number of goals scored this match week, twice. Last time out, the West Ham fan did get this spot on, and that's why he smashed me like that. And the previous, 3 weeks ago, someone else also did get this. So it's possible to get this spot on. I predicted 31 last week. There were 30. I missed out by one. So this time around, I am going to go for... I can see a couple of high-scoring games between Chelsea and Burnley, West Ham, Liverpool, Leeds, Leicester, Brentford, Norwich. I'm going to go for 35 goals.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of goals to be scored this weekend, looking at the fixtures. But I'm going to go for 5 less than you. I'm going to go for a round, neutral, sensible 30 goals.
30 goals. That number was the winning number last time out. So if I get it spot on again, I'll be very mad. Basically, I need to bring it back to 6-5. But if Lou wins, the experts will be 7-4 ahead. So thank you very much for coming on.
No problem. I'll see you again.
Awesome. And so I'll put his Twitter link in the description. Make sure to follow him and check him out on Twitter. Let us know what your predictions are for this match week and which game do you think will have the most goals. Thank you for watching. Keep staying safe, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.